The YouTube live link is shared in the chat. It can be sent to people who would like to join. Another couple of minutes and we'll have our guest speaker here. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
We're all well. We're all
just in time, right?
yes, we're just in time. So we have 13 participants.
Okay.
They are trickling in as we
Sure,
go.
we can give them time, sure.
Yes.
Just in time, right? Is it echoing?
Yes, give me a moment. It is.
Yeah, it's also being, okay, streamed live on YouTube. Okay.
Yes. I just had to pause my YouTube video.
Okay.
That's why it's double. Yes. Neeraja ma'am, I think you can see the chat window. There will be a small window. Yes. So yes, you can. People are conversing.
Oh, I will take a look at it.
Yes.
I'll just bring my PPT online and then. Hi, Shivaranjani, doing very well. Thank you for joining in. Neha, I'm doing well, thank you. Hi, Manoj. We give a couple of minutes more.
Yes, we'll start in a minute.
Sure,
It's
sure. Hope to see more blogs from you, Shivaranjani. How is blogging? So I'm not, gone on to becoming a professional blogger yet, uh, though the writing bug has definitely bitten me. But I shouldn't say there is no time. But life seems to, the day starts and ends, and one doesn't know what you're doing, especially in the current situation. But I definitely will, attempt writing more. India, I'm doing very well. Thank you, Sawmill. Hello. The power of networking. There are some people that I know from the outside of Loka world also who have joined. I'm so glad.
That's very nice, very nice. Welcome to all of you, people from the Vidyaloka world and from outside. This session would be beneficial to all alike. That's the belief. Okay, let us formally begin the session. I'll first tell the participants how this will go about. We have a talk by Neeraja ji for about 45 minutes, and then we'll spend 15 minutes on the question and answers. For the sake of smoother operation, we will keep the questions coming in the Zoom chat. So if you have questions, please post it in the Zoom chat. The questions are visible to Neeraja ji. So she can pick from the questions based on the time we have and answer it. So I will start with introducing ma'am. Neeraja Ganesh's professional experience of 25 years has been in the information technology industry. She has managed large teams, delivering IT projects, operational excellence, and customer delight for large banking captives. Since she is very passionate about facilitating people to reach their full potential, most of her teams have been established, groomed, and grown organically. She has mentored and coached new leaders, first time leaders, to understand their leadership style and to utilize their strengths to grow themselves and their teams. She decided to switch her career to work in the space of gender diversity after having mentored women from diverse experiences, age groups, industries, and domains to help them grow in their careers. She was the head of jobs for her foundation, which has been set up to bridge the gender gaps in the country. Currently, she is a freelance consultant who conducts various training programs, workshops on leaderships and behaviors. She also coaches people to progress in their careers. Her passion to improve the educational system in India has triggered her decision to also consult at one of the premier educational institutions in Karnataka, called National Education Society, which has 17 institutions under it, National College being one of them. Her role at the institution is to bridge the gap between industry and academia and make the curriculum relevant for Industry 4.0. Today, she is with us to deliver a webinar on the power of networking. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And I was listening to that introduction thinking, oh, was that really me? Because it's been a long career and, it's kind of been a very interesting one. And the topic today is extremely relevant. One, from the point that how I've kind of grown in my career, especially in the last few years in terms of doing the diverse things that I have done because of networking. And also the fact that this is a word which is totally misunderstood. It is abused, and people kind of think of it as not so good attribute to have also. So I thought I should talk about it whenever an opportunity presents itself, and I've done many talks on this topic. So when Vidya approached me to do a session, I picked this as the topic because I think it's extremely relevant in today's world, and let's understand, how one can go about it. So what I will do is I'll switch off my video too, so you can, look at the slides and continue to hear me. And then I'll switch on my video once we come to the chat session. And please feel free to interject me if you think there is a question which has come, which has to be responded to at the point of time that I'm talking. Otherwise, we can take on questions in the end.
Sure, ma'am. Yes.
Let me just share my screen, and can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just stopping my video. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for making time on a Saturday morning and coming for a session which is on the topic of the power of networking. And what I will do through the session today is talk about stories from my own life in terms of how I've gone about networking and how it has helped, and also give certain tips in terms of how one can go about doing it. Now, there is nothing right or wrong about it. It's not a science or an art to say, okay, this is the way one does it. There are things that I have done to work for me, and there are a few things which if you would do, will kind of, work the right way for you. And that's all there is to kind of, talk about. Since this is going to be like a storytelling session, let me start with, a once upon a time story. For those of you who have heard of Apurva Purohit, she is the president of the Jagran Group, the largest, publication group, I think, in the country, which is both on print, radio, online. The midday newspaper belongs to them. Radio City belongs to them. As of last November 2019, if you had asked me, do you know Apurva? Apurva knows you, I would have said, I know her exactly as maybe most of you know. We know that she's one of the most powerful women in our country today. Forbes and India Today has called her as one of the most powerful women in the country. She kind of leads Jagran, and she writes a few books. But if I were to tell you that in February 2020, she was inviting certain women leaders across the country for a very informal get-together that she was planning to do in March. And the who's who, from the business world were there. And you can imagine, people that she would be mingling with. So those are the kind of women that she had invited. People were going to fly in from outside the country for this. It was an informal get-together one-day event that she planned, but of course it didn't happen because of the COVID situation. But she had planned and sent out the invites. And I was one of those people who got invited. Now, how did that happen? So let me tell you that sometime in the month of October 2019, I was asked by this online publication called Women's Web to do a book review of her book, recently launched a book called Lady or the Boss. Now, that is another story in terms of why they came and approached me to do a book review. I'm not an author, I'm not a reviewer, I'm not a professional writer, but we reserve that story for another day. But the fact is that I was reading her book in the month of October to do the review. And I'm also part of this industry body called as BCIC, Bangalore Chamber of Industries and Commerce, who have different verticals like, manufacturing vertical, the IT vertical, and there's a women's leadership and empowerment vertical too. So I'm just one of the members in that committee. And we were meeting in October to talk about what are the kind of programs that we should host for our BCIC member companies. And everyone said, we don't want the usual conferences, day-long conferences, panel discussions and things like that. Let's do something hatke, something very different. And since this book was on the top of my head because I was reading, and it's a brilliant book. For those of you who have not read it, men and women, please pick it up and read it. I just kind of thought aloud, I spoke aloud. I said, why don't we invite Apurva Purohit for a kind of meeting, event, and distribute this book, Lady or Boss, to all the people who are going to participate in that event beforehand so that they can read it. And at this meetup, which is going to be an hour or two, let people ask questions to Apurva from the chapters that she's written in the book. And people liked the idea. So now the question was, how do we get to Apurva? Now, I am very well, connected in the LinkedIn world. I had also connected to Apurva the minute I started reading her book. So I said, let me send her a request and see if she accepts. And she accepted, and she said that she's coming to Bangalore in the month of November, and can we have a meeting then? So we organized it, November, whatever date it came. And in a usual meeting, what happens? There'll be somebody who will introduce BCIC, there will some, and the chairperson of Women's Empowerment Committee will come and introduce what we do as part of that being under BCIC. There'll be somebody who will kind of do the thank you. But they asked me, because I happened to have, initiated this. They said, Neeraja, can you introduce Apurva? So I said, okay. And you know how introductions go. Like, I was just right now introduced, right? There'll be a typical bio which will be sent, and you should read it. And especially for senior leaders like Apurva and the others, you cannot say anything, above and beyond what is there, which is stipulated for you. So I took that job, that opportunity that was given to me to introduce her, and I said, let me do it a little differently. So I decided to speak about one of the lessons that she had in her book, and a story from my own life on that topic, which was the imposter syndrome. Then read the bio, and then I took permission from her to read a little bit of excerpt from her book. And I said, is it okay for you if I read something from your book? And she said, I mean, it's my book, and if you're going to read it, why will I say no, right? So this is what I did. I told a story which was on imposter syndrome, which is also a chapter in her book. Then I did her intro, and then I read a little bit from her own book, and then I called her up on the stage. And she told me, Neeraja, I don't even feel like getting up and coming over there. I just want to keep listening to you. So I kind of had stolen, that particular moment, had built the impression with Apurva and the rest of the people who were listening to me. And that was all. After that, she went about, giving her talk, and then we did her bye-byes. And I probably sent her a thank you note after that particular session, and sent a couple of pictures that were taken at that session, did some social media promos. But that left an impact on her, right? That 5 minutes of time that I had to do what I did in a very different manner, showcasing what my skills were in terms of, presentation, the way I read the book, and some story from my own life, left an impression with her that she felt that I deserved to be there at the event that she was organizing. Now, this is the power of networking. And in all of this, I'm not even said that you shook hands, you introduce yourselves, nothing. See, networking can happen in any way and can keep happening throughout. So, and it is extremely powerful. Now, if you were to ask me, so what did you get out of it? You got invited to a get together, and is that what you get out of a networking, a relationship? Well, if the get together had happened, I told you the who's who had been invited for it, right? So I would have gotten to meet many other people. And that would have been a, again, a networking opportunity for me. But the point is that the relationship that now I have built with her, just because of those 5-10 minutes that I spent with her that day, and of course through the event, anytime if I wish to, talk to her about something which I believe she is the SME or she can help me out with, I can pick up the phone and call her, and she will oblige. So that's the power of networking. And hence, I really want you to kind of keep, glued on to this session till the very end, because there are certain things that that all of us can do to kind of become what should I say, power networkers. LinkedIn calls me, Neeraja, you're a power searcher, because, I keep, finding people on LinkedIn. But it's definitely something to be considered to progress, not only in your professional career, but even in your personal lives. We have heard of capital in various ways. There's financial capital and the things. There is also something known as the social capital, right? And the social capital is equal to the relationships that we have with people around us. Now, how does one build the social capital? So it is said that people who are well networked are 3 times more influential than people who aren't. Now, the network power depends on how strong your relationships are. Now, I could have 100 people in my network. I could have 1,000 people in my LinkedIn connections, correct? But unless and until the relationships between these 100 and 1,000 are really strong, or on how much attention the person who's there in the network commands. If it was me, then how much attention do I command when I engage with people in the network? Or on how attractive is that person as part of being in somebody's network is what is the power of the network. So don't make it a number game, right? Or at the end of the day, those numbers will also matter and they will eventually come. But it is more the strength in terms of the relationships that you build in a network. So things to that you must reflect upon if you are part of a network or you want to become a part of a network is, are you the deep expert on something so that people will reach out to you for that? And that is why you will become, as the go-to person and people will want to have you in the network. Otherwise, you'll be one out of the 100. Do you know powerful people and can you access them? Are you in a position of authority in an organization or a network or an industry body or a community and can make things happen? If you are a person that is valuable in all of this that I spoke about or in any other way, then you are that person who will be valued in a network. And that is what you need to, achieve. I really do not emphasize on making it a number game and becoming part of a network where there are 1,000 other people, but you as a person, what is a differentiator because of which people will come to you, and hence you can also get something out of that network is what one needs to think of. So basically, people in your network should value you for more than just being one of the hundreds in the network. Now, how does one go about building such a network and becoming part of this network? First thing we say is give before you receive. So usually people will think in a network, what do they say? This person got the opportunity because he or she is heavily networked, right? And usually people say you get opportunities because you are good at networking. That means that people think I should go and ask someone for something, the opportunity that I am looking for. And if I have a great network, I will get it. But I am contradicting it completely. For you to establish a good network, you have to give before you can even think of receiving anything. So it's like a bank account, right? You can't keep drawing from a bank account unless and until you put something into it and then it grows, with whatever interest that, of course, today's rate of interest may not be great, but something like that. And let me tell you a story around giving and then how did I receive. So when my last corporate job was in Capgemini, which I quit in 2017. So in 2016, when I was in Capgemini, I suddenly, realized the need to help women who've taken a career break to restart their careers. Now, why I didn't think of it before that is because I have never taken a break in my career. And I never thought it was a big deal to take a break and then to restart. But something happened. I went to some conferences, met some women who were on a career break who told me how difficult it is for them to kind of restart their careers. And I said, I must do something about this. So I came across a platform called as Jobs for Her. Some of you may have heard of it. It's an online portal to help women on a career break restart their careers. And I thought, let me use this platform to kind of do what I can. So at that point of time, this platform was very new and they were looking out for ambassadors. So ambassadors are women who have taken a break and have utilized the services provided by this platform. And so they can go and talk about it to other women on a break. I said, okay, let me become an ambassador. While I was not on a break, I was not contemplating a break. I said, maybe this is the way I can do something for the women. So I became part of the ambassador community, which was a smallish community at that time. And we were on a WhatsApp group. So the women in the group used to talk about all the challenges and, have questions. And I being a bit more senior, with more gray hairs and some wisdom around me, used to give them some tips and tricks around for the questions that they used to converse in that WhatsApp group. So suddenly people put me up on a pedestal and said, oh my God, Neeraja, is like a mentor to us. So when Jobs for Her officially brought in a mentoring portal, I was one of the first people to kind of get onboarded as a mentor. And then I did whatever I could as a mentor, did one-on-one mentoring, did webinars, did group mentorings. I went to the mentoring roadshows in Bangalore and Pune, where I used to travel a bit and showed up to those events and mentored the women as much as I could. And then I kind of decided to quit my corporate career in 2017. And before I actually, called it quits, I was on a 3-month leave. So I went and told Neha Bagaria, the founder of Jobs for Her, that I would like to volunteer and do something for Jobs for Her. So they were coming up with their first flagship event at that time called as Restart Her. And she said, we will, love your help for that event. So I used to go to their office every alternate day for a couple of hours and did what I could, right? So this is what I gave to Jobs for Her as an organization. And guess what? I was not wanting to go back to the corporate world, which I had told Neha. So she was looking at starting a not-for-profit foundation by December 2018. And she asked me whether, I would head it. And she said, the role is just right for you. And I can't think of anybody else who can, come and head that. She had not advertised the role. She had not thought of anybody else but me for it. And do you think that when I started as an ambassador, when I went to do mentoring, when I volunteered, I would have thought that, at one day I'm going to get a job, I'm going to work at Jobs for Her? No, right? So that's what I mean by give before you receive. So it's almost like a Bhagavad Gita where you say, karam karo, phal ki chinta mat karo. But the fact is that I also say one never digs a well when the person is thirsty, right? The well has to be dug much before that so that you can take the water when you need it. Similarly, you have to constantly keep networking by giving to what you can give. I spoke about the value that you bring to a network. So give as much as you can so that either automatically people reach out to you because they believe you're the right person for that, or you can then ask. You can, at a point in time when you feel there is a need and somebody can help you out from the network, then you can go and ask. But the start of networking is not by, oh, will you help me? And that's the absolute wrong thing to do. And it will never be successful. People will call you slimy and you will not feel like doing it at all. So that's the first thing that one needs to remember. Give before you receive. The second thing in terms of what can we do, the easiest thing that one can do to start networking is introduce and ask to be introduced. Be a connector. This is the most easiest thing that one can do, right? Because all of us know so many people. And we can definitely introduce somebody to somebody else because we believe, there is some value that the person can bring to the other person's life or the work they do. So again, let me narrate some stories, right? In 2017 September, I quit from Capgemini. In 2017 October, the whole month, I just went about meeting people. Who are these people? These are people that I might have met at earlier events and hence, got their numbers or connected over email or on LinkedIn, or I may have just found them on LinkedIn and, remained connected with them. I just went around meeting them because I was thinking of freelancing, consulting, and I thought, okay, let me talk to others who are in a similar space and ask them, how does one go about doing this? Thankfully, everybody that I reached out to came, met me, and was happy to collaborate with me and said, let's see what we can do together. So in terms of the introductions, there was this person, Devlina Majumdar. She's a story writer and she has an organization that does storytelling. I had connected with her in LinkedIn because it was very interesting to see what she was doing. And my daughter is aspiring to be a writer. So, I thought, okay, I will probably get some tips from her based on whatever she posts on LinkedIn and, pass it on to my daughter. So she was one person that I met. And she said, I will introduce you to what is called the TIE network, the Indies Entrepreneurs Network. There are tons of, different kinds of networks in there. There's like an educator network, social network, and all of that, and women's entrepreneurs network. And maybe, that is one good way for you to start connecting with people and seeing how you can collaborate to start something on your own. There was a mentor that I had met at an event, the same Jobs for Her event. And just give me a minute. I'm sorry for that. So, okay, I was talking about the mentor that I met at the event, Padmaja Narsipur, and we were again thinking about what we could, collaborate together on. Obviously, we couldn't start a collaboration at that point in time, but she has continued to be an extremely good friend. And sometime later during today's session, I will talk about how that connection, kind of helped me. I asked Neha Bagaria herself to introduce me to Lakshmi Praturi, who heads Ink Talks. If some of you have followed the talks that Ink Talks hosts, it's like a TED for India, TEDx for India. I saw Lakshmi she was delivering the keynote address at the Jobs for Her event, and I was really, really impressed. And I said, can you connect me with her? And she did, and I went and volunteered at Ink Talks. And later, via the Jobs for Her Foundation, we did some work with her. There was a lady by name Veena Ramagopalan who came and met me when I was at Jobs for Her. She connected with me on LinkedIn and she said, Neeraja, can we do something together? And I said, at that point in time, because I was employed at the Jobs for Her, I couldn't do anything else. But I introduced her to Jobs for Her, saying that she is into the training world. There might be some opportunities that Jobs for Her can kind of give to her. So these are the examples of introduce. People introduced me, Davina introduced me to somebody else. I asked Neha to introduce me to somebody else. I myself introduced Veena to somebody else, right? So very easy, simple things that one can do. Become a connector, introduce, and you can ask to be introduced. And that's the starting of your networking journey. What's the next step now that you've done the introduction? This is a little more difficult. Leave your comfort zone. And I'm talking about an era that will once again come back after the COVID-19 situation when we will have physical events. But we can do this even online today because there are lots and lots of online events also happening. And you may be wondering whether you should really, attend this event, attend this webinar, attend this session or not. And please pardon my slides where there is just a lot of women pictures because I usually do these sessions for women and I didn't bother changing the slides. I know that it's a very diverse audience today. So that's why some of those pictures are like that. Leave your comfort zone, accept an invitation that may come your way and show up at that event. This is the first thing that one must do. Now, we are all, wondering what will I do at an event that I don't know anybody, right? That's the first apprehension you have. And you will probably try to ask your friends and family to kind of come along with you. I'll say, if none of your friends and family come, I think that's the best event that you should go to. Because the minute you go with someone that you know, you'll probably hang out with that person, sit in a corner and not go and mingle with anybody else. And you're not going to make new friends, new connections. So don't think, is it relevant to me? If there is an invite, please show up. That is the first thing that you need to do. Now, I know there could be discomfort for those of you who are going to do this for the first time, and those of you who have tried doing it, I know there could be discomfort, but let me tell you another story. See, through my corporate career, I'd kind of, gotten used to attending events, meeting people, and how to do the small talk and kind of, take it forward. But the minute I went on to the Jobs for Foundation, there were very different kinds of events that I had to go to, and one of them was around the entrepreneurship space. And I had no clue about the lingo that they use, what they talk, and things like that. So I showed up at this launch of a women's entrepreneur venture. It was the launch, and I was asked to go there because I represented Jobs for Her, and I did the usual thing, right? I said hello to some people. I was trying to give them my business card, and I didn't get too many people responding to me. Some people didn't even take my cards. People didn't even give me their cards, and I was a little disappointed. I came back saying that, oh, this is the first time this is happening to me, because I was quite a pro in the corporate side of things. A few months later, the same organization, which kind of started this women's entrepreneurship venture, had a more smallish, closed roundtable discussion on a particular topic. And again, I got invited because I was heading the foundation, so I showed up for that. And of course, we had some good conversations. I also contributed to that discussion. At the end of that session, I still remember this one lady whom I had met at the previous event of theirs. I was trying to give her my card, who didn't even look up at me. She came and she gave her card to me. So I think, probably the difference was that it's a much smaller event. And if I had got a place at the table, then she maybe thought I'm, somebody worth investing time in. Or she might have found what I was speaking interesting and valuable enough. And so she gave me her card. The other thing happened was there was another gentleman, a very senior venture capital person at that table. I saw a LinkedIn message from him after I came back from that event saying, hey, Neeraja, we are already connected. Good to, I met you at the event today. So this is what I usually do. When I go for events, I try and find the speakers, the attendees, and I connect with them, on LinkedIn. And I must have, met this person earlier at some event and, sent a LinkedIn request, which he had accepted. But why was he looking me up on LinkedIn? Either because he also follows the same philosophy that whoever I meet at events, let me connect with them, or maybe he found what I said interesting, and so he thought, let me look up what she does. Whichever way, I responded to his LinkedIn message and I said, can we meet up because I have a few things to discuss? And we actually had a coffee meeting to talk about a few things that were on the top of my mind. But this is not what it is, right? A few months later, since people interview me, they ask me to do some podcasts and this and that. There was a podcast that had happened about my career journey, which had gone around in some groups and circles. The person who started this women's entrepreneurship venture, she reached out to me and she said, I have heard your podcast, Neeraja, and I want you to become my co-founder. Now look at that journey. Okay. From the first meeting where nobody wanted to look at me, to second where there were others who were open, and third, somebody just listened to my podcast and says, I think you will be the right person to become a co-founder. So opportunities will come your way, even if you're not seeking, if you do the right things. Be there, show up for that event, show up for those online sessions. And then I'll tell you what you do, after you show up for those events. But the first thing is, don't think too much. Is it relevant or not? Everything is relevant in this world. Today, having an information overdose is good, right? You have to be extremely knowledgeable about a variety of things. So please go for those events. Now, what do you do when you have to go for the event? Prepare for the event. What is the kind of preparation that one will do? Now, usually I do these sessions in a very interactive manner, but given the amount of time that we have today, so I'll do a monologue and then we can discuss towards the end. Preparation for the event has to be research. Research. What will you research about? First of all, you will research about the organization. For example, those of you who are not from eVidyaloka today, but have come for this webinar, I hope you did research about what does eVidyaloka do, right? Because they are the organizers of this event. Research about the speaker. So hopefully some people did research about who's Neeraja, what does she do? Research about the speakers, the panelists. Sometimes you may also get to know who are the attendees, because most of these events, they say, okay, register, and because there are limited seats, and we will, kind of send the confirmation. And when they send the confirmation over email or through the meeting invite, most of the times you can see their email IDs. So this is what I do, right? I look up the email ID. Usually it is official email ID. So the name and the company name, I'll go find them on LinkedIn. And you can do some research about it. Now, why do you need to do this research? Because this helps you kind of prepare before you show up for that event. So that when you go and meet the speaker there, or when you go and meet one of the attendees, you have some stuff to start talking about. You will not be wondering, oh, how do I start a conversation? The second reason this research is important is because when, for example, we were having this as a face-to-face workshop and longish workshop, and we had a coffee break, then you could come up to me and say, you know what, Neeraja, I read your article, like Shivaranjani was saying, I read your article on this, and, this is my take on it. You could, you would talk for or talk against, that doesn't matter. It's your opinion. But the fact is that I will remember this person, and if this person sends me a request later on LinkedIn or calls me up later or whatever it is, I will definitely remember this person and respond to that person. You can also come prepared with questions. While it is important for you to, take a, ask those questions as the session is going on based on what the speaker is saying, you could come prepared with questions based on the research that you've done about the topic, about the organizer, about the speaker, etc. And one of the things is, I will give another example. I curate a lot of such events, and one of the events that I was curating. So what does curation mean? It means, kind of either you find the speakers yourselves or the organizer will say, these are the speakers. Can you please curate what should be the topic of discussion based on the theme of the event? So you will actually go figure out, you will research, you will, put down the entire 1 hour panel discussion. What are the questions? Who should take the questions? So that it's kind of, gelling with the theme and will be relevant for the audience. So I was asked to curate this panel discussion, and I did research about every speaker. And, when I put out the questions to them, you will do a, prep with them before the actual event. They were kind of so surprised to say that I seem to know everything about them. And this was the first time I was meeting them. But I had done the Google research to say, what does this person, do in his company, or what does she write about, and all of that. So the questions are also aligned to that. And so it becomes easier for them also to respond. And we have now connected post that, official curation event to become good, friends, and we remain connected and, talk about the variety of things. So research is absolutely important to know about the event that you're going for, the people who you are going to meet there, so that you can have a good discussion during the event and after the event. So please do this preparation whenever you go, both for the online and offline events. I am just trying to see if how's the chat going. Is there anything that I need to look at? I'm not able to see the chat at the moment.
There are no questions so far, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I will continue.
Once you open up, we have, yeah.
Now, the next thing, you have showed up to the event. So my recommendation is do the tango with the conversations. What do I mean with that? There's an 80-20 rule that all of us are aware of. Listen for 80% of the time. Don't keep talking forever about yourself, what you do, etc. Remember, what did I say? You will be looked upon as someone valuable in a network based on your expertise or what is it that you can contribute, correct? So if you keep talking, nobody's going to listen to you. They're going to get bored of you. So you listen. So I advise that have an elevator pitch, a 30-second, 60-second pitch to kind of introduce yourselves. All of us should have a very generic pitch, but when you are going specifically to a particular, event, then you have done the research. And sometimes I also say that have a target also. You go to a networking event, you may want to have a target of I'll meet 3 new people, and these are the 3 new people that I must meet. Then you can, tweak your elevator pitch in such a way that it becomes interesting for that person. The person realizes that you have something to offer that he or she would like to consume. After that, have a very open conversation by throwing out open-ended questions and listening and taking in what the other person is saying. Because what are you listening for? You're listening for opportunities where you can provide value to the person. Right? So during the conversation, he or she might say, I've started something new and I'm struggling to kind of, maybe if he or she is doing something in the agri world, he's saying, I'm looking for someone who can possibly help me out with this, agricultural legalities and things like that, whatever it be. And if you think that this is something that you can help the person for, you must tell them, I know of someone, but I myself am that person, or I can connect you to a service provider who can help you. And take his card, take her card, give your card. And this is a network that you should become part of. Now, you cannot be useful to every person whom you are meeting and have the conversation with. If in a couple of minutes you realize that this is a space where you may not be able to help out, say, a great meeting you, look forward to meeting you again, and move on to the next person, right? It's not a number game. As I said, find even 5 people if you're able to talk to during a event is great. Now, how do you do it in the online space? You can't do it when the event is happening unless, I know that today conferences have moved online where you have networking lounges and things like that. So you can do the same there through chat and, other things. But otherwise, if you're just attending a webinar like this, you can follow up later, post the webinar to say, over LinkedIn or something that, hey, I met you and, this is something that you spoke in the webinar, or this is what I see in your profile. I think I can help you out. But it is most of the time listening. Again, a story from my life. So I'm part of another women's leadership group. It's a WhatsApp group where as part of their regular protocol, they introduce one member every week on the WhatsApp. So I got introduced on one of the weeks, and my background of the DNI and the Jobs for Foundation was introduced. So there is Madhura, who's an ex-banker, and she's currently started a not-for-profit foundation called as Aspire for her, and this is for girls in the 18 to 25 age group. So she felt that she needed to meet me and talk to me to take my experiences from Jobs for her. So she set up a call, and of course I went on the call. But I did not talk all the time. Despite the fact that she was reaching out to me because she wanted to hear my experience, I, said that I would like to listen to what she had to say. And I started kind of asking her open-ended questions to understand the background for her to set this up, what her strategy is, what her vision is. And through that, then start narrating my experiences from my previous, whatever I have done, to say this may work, this may not work, you should do it this way, right? So that is where, the relationship also builds. And, now she kind of invited me to become a mentor on the portal, which I am now. So please listen. Active listening is the mantra when you are meeting people. Business cards, right? Exchange of business cards during physical events. What do? We just give business cards left, right, center. What do? We take business cards left, right, center. What do you do with those business cards later? I remember, I think in the initial week of the lockdown, I actually sat down and sorted out all the business cards that I had collected in the last few years. I sorted them out in piles, alphabetically and all of that. You may ask what was the use of it, but I said that, I've collected so much, let me do it. And that's what it'll come to. You'll pile up these business cards. But my recommendation is please treat it like a credit card, and hopefully all of us have the discipline with credit cards not to, go overboard and, have overdues and things like that. So when you meet people, you ask for business cards only from the people where you think you can provide value. Always keep that in your mind. It's not about can he or she provide value to me. You can obviously take a card from that person also. And if people are giving you cards, you can't refuse. But you seeking cards have to be only from people to whom you can provide a value. And we'll talk about what we have to do with these business cards later. But just to kind of give, what did I do after this huge thing of, sorting out all the business cards? I remembered I had met someone from Big Basket, a very senior person. And in these days, I think we're all struggling with Big Basket deliveries. So I, reached out to that particular card. And of course, I would have reached out to that person on Twitter or LinkedIn also. But I thought let it be a little more personal. And I called up the person and said, oh, this big struggle with Big Basket. And he was kind of explaining to me about the situation that they were also going through because of which the deliveries were not happening. But the usage of the card is definitely there. There will come a need when you can use it. But if you're going to have thousands of cards in your bucket, you won't be able. You will not always have a lockdown where you can sit and sort out cards. So bring in the most relevant ones. And then what you do with that is something that, we'll definitely talk about in this slide. You've attended the event, you've attended the meeting, the webinar, whatever you have done. What is it that you do? Follow up. And then follow up again. Because it's easy to do all of this, but the social capital that you build, the relationships that you build happens only after the event when you follow up and when you engage with the people that you have met. Now, how do you do that? The first thing I would say, if especially you're going to a physical event, is unless you yourself are driving your car, please immediately pick up the number from the business card, store it in your contact list, connect with the person on LinkedIn by saying, hey, I met you at this event, would like to keep connected with you. And also send an email saying, it was great meeting you. That's the first thing that you do, right? If you are driving, then you can't do it at that time. Come home and the first thing you do that. If you don't do it at that point in time, then it will just become a huge lot of business cards like I had, and then either you throw it or you'll never be able to find it when the need arises. And then how do you follow up again? At some frequency that you decide. Initially, it's going to be easier because you may have 5 people in your network or 10 people in your network. You send out an email based on something that you discussed with the person in the first meeting. You may have said, I'll connect you with somebody. So make that connection in the follow-up email. Or you feel that there's another event coming up which might be relevant to this person. WhatsApp the person and say, this is another event which I thought maybe you would be interested in. Or if there's an interesting piece of information you came across through an article or a video podcast, send it via LinkedIn or whatever else to the person to say, hey, I thought you'd be interested in it. Simple things, but you must regularly follow up. Now, of course, when your network enlarges to hundreds and thousands, you can't do it every week, every fortnight. Like I have on LinkedIn 8,000 plus people connected to me, and I can't do it every day. Even if it once a year, and you can't schedule it, but in my head, I know the people that I have met. I will always remember vaguely. I may not remember the name exactly, but I'll know, okay, this person from this company or something like that. And when I come across something interesting, I will definitely, do that. As simple as, a happy birthday to someone. So today, even Facebook has become, a means of professional networking, right? So there was Jacinta who was on the panel, Jacinta Jayachandran, who was in my panel discussion on one of the events. And I had connected with her on Facebook also. And Facebook said it's her birthday on one of the days. So instead of just saying happy birthday on Facebook, which is the usual thing that we do, I WhatsApped her because I had number and I wished her. And she called me back because she was so happy that I did a personal birthday wish. And then we got talking after that, and we've been meeting and we are together in lots of initiatives that we're trying to drive. So follow-ups are absolutely important. It doesn't have to be something very big. It can be as simple as a happy birthday, but it has to be genuine. It has to be something that the person will appreciate. The minute you do this, even if it is like once in 6 months, you've sent something to the person, the relationship has been strengthened. The social capital has definitely improved. So you can dig into it when and if there is a need after 6 months, but you can't do it in the first go, right? I met person today, tomorrow I give them some piece of information. Third day I'm calling up the person saying, I want this help. Maybe he or she may help, but that's not the right way. And hence I say, you cannot dig the well when you're thirsty. Do it much ahead. Do it always. You don't know when it's going to be useful. I don't know how we are doing for time, but I will quickly finish, a couple of more slides that I have. And if this kind of extends for another 5-10 minutes, I hope people are okay. We started a little late, that's why. The
Yes,
other
we
thing
can.
I say is deepen your network pool. What is the meaning of that? Diversity is key to growing a strong personal network. So usually what happens is, if I'm in the DNI space, I will keep going to DNI events, right? Or if I am in the tech space, I'll keep going to tech events. Education space, only that. No, you have to diversify. So I, show up at writing events, reading events, book reading events, tech events, because I'm, my past life is technology, entrepreneurship related events, even though I'm not an entrepreneur. I go to, of course, a DNI events. And like, for example, today evening, there is a kind of a hackathon happening organized by Techstars and to talk about innovative solutions to deal with COVID-19. And somebody reached out to me and said, can you be a mentor for these? And I was thinking, what can I mentor on, right? But I said, no, I will. Let me do what I can. But that's a completely different set of people that I'm going to be meeting there as mentors. There would be startup people, deep tech people and things like that. So it is absolutely important to diversify and hence go to a very different kinds of events. And one of the things that I've heard is that you don't have to necessarily network up, which means that you don't have to find only people who are probably more senior than you, experienced than you, or the who's who. It is good to kind of network down also, right? And connect with savvy junior people in your industry or other industries. Again, another example I will give you. So when I started the Jobs for a Foundation, I had a volunteer who used to work with me. And since it was a new foundation, I told her we have to kind of spread the word around and you do what you can do. So she went and spoke to her neighbor who was in Christ, who is a faculty in the Christ University, and connected him to me. So I spoke to him and he said, the best that I can at this point in time offer you is space in my college. You can come and use my auditorium whenever you want to do any events. Now, of course, I never got to visit his college because he's from the Kengeri campus. But we had each other's numbers. A year later, after I had come out of the foundation, he reached out to me to say that his mother, who's in a government job, that particular government agency had mandated that they have to do a session on women leadership and work-life balance. And they had kind of told the women in the company to find a facilitator for this. So the mother was talking to this boy, this son, Christ University faculty, and he remembered me suddenly. So he was reaching out to me. So you don't know, where, from where, and what connect will give you what opportunities. So please ensure that you deepen your network pool by going to diverse events. So before we stop, I will definitely like to talk about LinkedIn because again, today's an online world and you all need to be on LinkedIn. And how does one build, the LinkedIn connects? So there are various people saying various things here, but one thing is shouldn't add contact requests from complete strangers. That is true. But you can't just remain connected to people that you know on LinkedIn. Then what is the point of this group? You have to really expand the network, right? So this is the way I have built. I went on to LinkedIn in 2016. I was not even on LinkedIn. And at that point in time, I said I will only connect with people that I have worked with. It was a very limited number. From 2016, zero connects to 2020, I have some 8,000 plus connects. So how did I build this? Starting whatever event I went to as an attendee, I ensured that I connected with all the speakers, organizers, and whoever else I met there. Of course, when I go and I'm on the stage, then of course I will connect with all of them. Then I said I can't be at every event, right? But there are so many events happening. So the ones which are in the line of the work that I do today, I'm in the education space or in the DNI space. Whatever events are happening across the globe, I will see some speakers for those events, and I will connect with them because these are people that will probably have something in common with me or will be interested in the work that I do, or I can offer something to them. Then, of course, there is another session that I do on, building a personal brand. As part of that, you must write, you must do things on LinkedIn. You can't just be quiet and sitting on LinkedIn. Nothing is going to happen there. You must post something, either your own original or somebody else's post. You reshare or you comment on somebody's, the thought process that you're having on a particular topic. I also write on LinkedIn. So when I get comments on LinkedIn from people that are not part of my network, I connect with them because I believe that if someone is interested in what I have spoken, then that might be a good person to be in, connect with. When I go and comment on others' posts, that is where I manage to get completely, large number of, people connected to my LinkedIn network because it's somebody else's post and I have kind of, put in my thought process there and comment there. Again, look up who all have commented and liked that post because the same strategy. People who like or who are saying something on a topic which is relevant to me, they might be relevant to my network also. So that's how I have slowly but definitely, built up. Sorry, I was just drinking water. My LinkedIn numbers to 8,000. But remember, unless and until there is some activity in terms of you, kind of contributing to that LinkedIn network by your thought leadership, some posts of yours, some, thoughts of yours, or, resharing. And then personally, kind of whoever you have met, or you've connected on LinkedIn, trying to connect with them later. It's again not going to help you too much, but that is definitely a place that you need to be in today. LinkedIn for sure. There are other social media platforms, but definitely LinkedIn from a professional network. So I will end the story which we started once upon a time with a happily lived after story. And the story is about the role that I am in today. So Padmaja Narsipur, I spoke to you about this lady that I had met at the Restart Her event of Jobs for Her. She was also a mentor. We caught up to talk about can we collaborate, but the collaboration didn't happen because I went on to head the Jobs for Her foundation. But we remained connected and she was very keen to know what the foundation does. And the foundation, one of the things we were trying to do is offer courses and skilling and reskilling, upskilling, options to women. And she introduced me to someone by name Dr. Rajaram Kudli, who, does a lot of stuff on data science. He has a learning academy on data science, a very different kind of a hands-on learning academy. So I did meet Dr. Rajaram Kudli, looked up his learning academy, but we couldn't do something with Jobs for Her at that point in time. But we remained connected. And as I said, I used to send him some information which I felt was relevant to him and he would share something with me. So he sent me a WhatsApp message saying that National College has started 3 new courses, one on data science, one on IoT, and one on biomedical electronics. They started this last year. And it was just a forward that had come because they're new courses, right? I was very, very keen to kind of know about these new courses. One, because National College is the college that I studied. I'm an alumni of that college. Two, because my daughter wants to pursue data science. So I'm like very keen to see what this new course is all about. And three, I thought, I have wanted to do something in the student space. So at the end of that WhatsApp message was the name of the person, Fanibhuchan Sharma, who was instrumental in bringing these courses to the college. I connected with him on LinkedIn and I requested him for a meeting. I met him and I told him that, see, I have a large network. I'm from the tech field. If there is anything that you want me to help out with, I told you, give. So anything that I can help out with, which could be connecting them to, faculty, the experts from the industry on these new topics, I can do that. He said, let me think through it. He went back to the management and he said, there is this lady who I believe can be useful to the entire institution, not just these 3 new courses. We need a role to build the industry academia connect, and I think she's the right person for that. And this management created the role for me, and I am in this role today. So it does help if you do it the right way and if you keep doing it throughout. So my next slides are only around action planning. Because if you don't do action planning when you're listening to this, you will never do it. It's like business cards, you will throw away everything. So I definitely tell everyone that, put down your action plans right now. We may not have time for it, so I'll skip this, but what is it that you'll start doing? What is it that you'll stop doing based on what you heard from me? Or what is it that you should change, when you go for networking events and things like that? And some websites where you can definitely find events. Today, there's no dearth of it. Google it, you will find it. And there are also professional networks you can become part of. Like Lean In is something for women. If you're in the semiconductor space, there is IESA online, project management space, you have PMI, women entrepreneurship, tons and tons and tons of networks today. So become part of these is what I would suggest. And that is all that I have for today. I am happy to take questions. I'm sorry, it was like a marathon session, one-way monologue, which is not what I do, but I hope it wasn't too boring.
Well, it looks like we have been listening with rapt attention throughout the seminar. We have questions here, ma'am, in the Q&A icon. You can see it at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, let me go through
it. Questions there and two in the chat.
Okay, all right. So let me first, because there are 2 in the Q&A, maybe let me start there and then I'll go to the chat.
Yes.
Okay. Anonymous attendee, please don't be anonymous. I would love to know who you are. And please, all of you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just make a mention that, you attended my webinar so I know who you are, Like I said, we don't take requests from strangers, but definitely people who have attended my session, I would love to have them in my network. Ma'am, I've attended many events, but when I attend an event and talk to someone from another organization, I have some inferiority complex and my discussion doesn't go well after that. How do I overcome that? So I told you don't have to talk about yourself. You have to find out about the other person and what that person is doing, right? So there is no question of inferiority complex. There's also a myth where people say introverts, are bad networkers. I would say introverts are the best networkers because they can listen, right? So don't worry. If you are using the strategy of, I will give out a 30, 60-second elevator pitch, which is something that you have to really practice and have, and then start asking open-ended questions to understand what is the work they do, like I did with Madhura for Aspire for her. You don't have to worry at all. The discussion will just keep flowing. And at some point in time, you will realize where you can help that person, pick on that, and then do whatever I asked you to do. So I hope that kind of answers. One thing that always concerns me is that repeated follow-ups may be perceived as nagging. That is true, Akshay. Is there any approach practice to not build such an image? Please throw some light on this. So again, you can't do it every day. You shouldn't do it every day. It depends on the frequency that you are doing. And you will also get some kind of feelers. Like for example, I'm part of one other club, so-called club, of senior women leaders. And I, in my usual style, will connect with people outside of the WhatsApp group and outside of the club and, talk to them. So I kind of try to gauge, as I said, interest levels. Based on the responses, I will know if someone is very busy or someone is just not interested in talking, or this is not the right time to talk. Maybe like in the COVID-19 situation, people are going through different things. So maybe this is not the right time to talk. Then you can pause that. You can probably go back to them after a month or two, just generally checking how are you, So that's also good enough. But there might be people who kind of show interest. With them, you can kind of continue at some frequency which you feel is relevant. So don't overdo. You have to assess the other person's interest, but also unless and until you are giving them stuff which is interesting, it's going to appear as nagging. So keep that in mind. Okay, now let me look at
The chat
Varija.
window. Yes, the questions have started from Smita,
So
three, four
I go
entries
at the top.
ago. Yes, from the top we can come down.
Okay, all right. Coming down. If we may get this PPT or some kind of summary of what was discussed, then it would be very nice since we can apply the learning later on. Let me see what I can do. I will coordinate with Vidya and see if we can share some kind of a cheap sheet or something like that, definitely. Preparing for the event is a great learning. One thing that
This
always concerns me is
that
that,
question has been answered.
okay, hello, ma'am. This session is of great value, but would like to know which are some of the factors due to which a person may hesitate networking. See, after I have told you whatever today, I don't think there should be hesitation, right? Because I'm saying do introductions, which is so simple. Why should you hesitate introducing people? I'm saying show up for an event. While that is a little difficult, but what's the worst? You will show up for the first two events and keep quiet and sit in a corner, right? It's okay. From the third event, you become a little more bold and say, okay, fine, let me go and find someone to talk to. Now the problem is how to initiate a conversation. I actually also tell people that they're a conversation starter. It kind of helps. Like I'm always in a sari, right? So people will always come and say, wow, this is a very nice sari, or the neck piece you're wearing is great. You can pick up from there and say, I picked the sari here and there, and then get started, talking. So if you've done the research well, you will have something that you can start talking about. So research is absolutely important. So I don't see why people should hesitate. It's always the hesitation because they think networking is about asking for a favor. It is not. Networking is about giving something. So the minute you change that mindset and the minute you go with an open mind to listen to the other person, I think half your hesitation should be gone because you're never asking. The ask will happen after you have built the relationship, which is more difficult. How do I ensure I keep the relationship going? How do I follow up? How do I give them, stuff which is useful to them? Then you can ask at a later point in time. I'm from the sales background. In the current situation of social distancing, what are the best and effective ways to build relationship or start new conversations? I am assuming you're talking about actually, sales calls with people. You have to be a little wary. Like, for example, even in my own role, right? My role is to build industry academia connect. So I have been talking to a lot of people, from the industry prior to this lockdown, which has happened. Now I'm not getting any responses and I am taking it slow. I'm not following up, not pressurizing because we don't know what is the priority for that particular industry and that particular company. But however, you can keep open conversations going even now by saying, how are you doing? What are the challenges that, your organization is facing? So you get to know what are the challenges. This is the best time to kind of understand what are the challenges of a particular customer and kind of preempt to see the minute the lockdown is over, or as we get back into a normalcy mode, what might be their high priority items, and can you service that in some ways, or can you help get that service from somebody else? So keep conversations like that. Don't start selling at this point in time. Selling is the last thing that you should do. Okay, anytime. The minute you make a networking event into a sales pitch, you're doomed. They have to be real, genuine conversations in terms of how can I help. I hope that helps. And these conversations will definitely get you the business at the right point in time. As I said, people will reach out because you have, shown the thought leadership, the authority on particular subjects, right? You are the SME on something, or you have a great product which they should look at. Or after having built and nurtured that relationship for 3 to 4 months, then you can say, what, we've spoken, but you've never looked at our product or whatever you are into. Would you like to take a look? And they will definitely be open at that point in time to kind of give you a hearing. Don't sell. Networking is not about selling yourself or your company. First ever non-technical session, like a technical session. I hope that's good. I know. Usually I forget the learnings after a few days. The way you presented and the PPT content is awesome. Thank you so much, Anu. Premlata from eVidya, please share the last to previous screen of PPT about websites. Okay, I will. Once you've done Q&A, I'll just put that. But that's a very limited, information and very dated information. You just Google and you will find tons of sites who offer events and networking in the area that you're from, with the eVidyaloka, maybe in the education space or whatever. You will find. But I will definitely put that up once we are done with the questions. Thank you, Shivaranjani. How to handle people who become jealous and start creating troubles in a well-networked group that we are leading. I mean, I don't think it's relevant to networking at all in any ways. I mean, people can be jealous, people can do things, at any point in time. If you can point me to a specific instance, then I may be able to answer that, because I'm not able to think of what troubles they may create. And maybe you can unmute Varija so that she can speak out. I don't know who is VPL, but wonderful session. Kindly share the mail ID. Whose mail ID? My mail ID. You can please connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find me as Neeraja Ganesh. Neha, new insight and ways to be good at networking. Really useful session. Thank you. Yes, Varija, can you speak? Tell me, what is this actual problem?
Varija, you are permitted to speak. If you would like to ask, please go ahead.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm just looking at the other questions that have come up. I've attended many events, but when I attend an event, okay, that's done, right? One thing that always concerns that is done. How to handle people, that's what we are going to look at. Research helps, ma'am, as you said, what is that makes what we speak catchy for another person. Absolutely. Yeah, Varija, I think you're the only, question that is remaining to be answered. Radha, really useful for me as I teach maths and science for all boards online till class 8. Great, Radha. Varija, would you like to tell us more about your question?
Varija, if you'd like to ask, you can ask now. It's okay. We can, in the interest of time, we can skip this question. If there is anything.
All I will say is, Varija, I mean, people who want to create trouble will be there always. And if it's really affecting the mood, the ethos of the group during events, or then you have to find a way to kind of deal with it, just like you would deal with anybody in the team. And that's something more behavioral to say, you sit down and talk to the person, find out what is the issue, why should the person be jealous just because you are very well connected and not the other person, whatever that is. But I don't think it's very specific only to network. Yeah, I'm happy to continue, but we are 10 minutes post, and I think at the moment we don't have any other questions, I guess.
If there are any further questions, the participants can connect with ma'am on LinkedIn and get introduced. And
Varija, please connect with me on LinkedIn and we can speak about it.
Sure. It was a very great session, ma'am. You can see it from the comments we have had from the participants themselves. Thank you very much. This is also available on YouTube. The live will be replayed and it will be processed and put up on YouTube. So that link also can be shared if any of the participants wants to share it with anyone. Important points you want to revisit and everything.
So just for the person who wanted my last slide, I will, because I promised, I will just show it once more.
Sure.
Let me just go to share screen, and this is the slide on networks that you can be part of. And I said it is extremely limited. There will be 400 such networks. So please Google and find out. And where is it? This is, event sites, again, very, very limited. Today, you will have tons in every city in the country, and online is booming, given thanks to COVID-19. So please go ahead and make use of this. And I don't have to share any slides, I think, because it's there on YouTube now. It will come up soon, and you can always refer to, whichever part of the PPT you wanted. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, participants, for taking out time on a Saturday to attend this webinar by Neeraja ma'am. Neeraja ma'am, thank you very much for all the valuable insights and knowledge you have shared with us. I hope everyone benefits from this. Thank you.
Thank you for having me over. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Stay safe.
Have a great day, everyone. Yes.